Well, welcome back everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at the plants just 2 weeks after transplanting them outside. Every single plant you can see in this video was started indoors, and there's quite an advantage to that. That includes these railing planters. This one actually has Mizuna, and the one over here has arugula. Starting these indoors allow them to take off a little bit sooner. Might be an advantage depending where you live. Next up, we have some thyme. This is a great reminder. The whole reason why I started gardening to begin with was to get some fresh herbs that I could enjoy while cooking. The oregano is doing the worst out of all the railing planters. This will catch up if I had to imagine, but there's a lot to still sprout or even germinate at all. Cilantro and then some parsley round out the railing containers that go on the deck. We also have some lettuce, and the netting here is to actually protect it from birds. A couple of other pots manage their way around the deck as well. Let's head on down into the garden itself. We'll talk about everything that's growing so far. On the way to the garden, you'll see some grass plugs. In another time-lapse video, I noted that it was actually more beneficial to grow plugs here than actual seed. The reason for that is all the heavy rain that we get in this area. Putting seed down can actually wash away from spots like this, so transplanting plugs once they're already established is a little bit easier to do. First up are some potatoes in grow bags, and this is hands down my favorite way to grow these. Once they become mature, you can actually just lift the bag up, empty it into a wheelbarrow, and harvest that way. Makes things a lot easier, and you don't have to dig into the ground. These are 10-gallon grow bags, and you can actually fit 1 potato for every 3 gallons, meaning you can actually get 3 potato plants per bag. With all 10 bags here, that's actually 30 potato plants, which is a large amount. This container here has mint. We actually have deer in this area, and the mint is a great deterrent. It's a natural deterrent. They don't like strong-smelling plants in general, which is pretty true for a lot of prey. The reason we grow it up in the container here is just so that it doesn't spread. Mint is incredibly invasive, so I want to keep this away from the garden, but nearby, and reduce the chance of spreading. This year's experiment is actually growing peppers side by side. There's been a lot of recent research that shows growing pepper plants next to each other and even letting them touch actually does fine, provided they're just a pair. The remainder of these grow bags were essentially extra, and I just planted some remaining tomato plants in them. Next up, we have several types of flowers. We have petunias, marigolds, and an unknown flower. Perhaps one of you can help me identify. This was in a pack of seeds and looks nothing like the plant that it's supposed to be. The enclosed bed here holds celery, some butter crunch lettuce, and some red leaf lettuce. A little prone to pests over here. Believe it or not, the birds actually like to eat on the leaves of many of these plants, so we close it in just to be safe. A few cucumbers have begun to pop up, and these are just being caged off from rabbits. Along this row here, we have a bunch of pole beans. We actually have Italian pole beans and also pinto beans. The strings or material on this fencing is just to keep birds away. They actually tend to fly into the mesh until the beans have grown up on it, so we keep this here until that's done. A couple extra basil plants. I grow these hydroponically. However, whenever I have extra, I like to throw them out in the garden as well. These are great and a lot of benefits for your other plants. An extra poblano pepper plant makes it over here, and the remainder of the pepper plants are actually enclosed in the area over here where we've rotated them for this year, and we'll get there in a couple minutes. Down this row, and with all the stakes, these are all indeterminate tomatoes. These will continue to grow up, and we use the stakes to trellis them in place. This will make it really easy to prune and also harvest them when the time comes. Just in front of that are some tomatoes. These will be caged very shortly, perhaps even after this video. Now, we don't stake these ones. These are actually determinate or aroma tomato. We just prefer to use cages. Next up is a row of eggplant, and these are continuing to grow. As time goes on and the warmer weather comes around, these will continue to catch up. Followed by that, another row of Roma tomatoes. And yes, you're correct if you've probably guessed that we do make sauce out of this and store it in the freezer. This sunflower looks like it has a little bit of insect damage, and the cage is actually protected from rabbits. Believe it or not, the rabbits will go after the sunflowers when they're small. As the sunflowers get bigger, they no longer like them as they're a little bit prickly. A bed of cherry tomatoes, and within the middle is a marigold. This will add pollinators to the bed and also ward off aphids. Strawberries are next, and we have a ton of flowers. These are ever-bearing strawberries, and we're just about to get our first batch in the next couple of weeks. Next up, we have some pepper plants, marigolds, and also a sunflower within here. We did have some herbs. Unfortunately, we lost those to pests. And we've got a time-lapse camera. We're going to be making a video of the sunflower, pepper, and the marigold all at once, and I'll share those videos when they're ready. In the bed directly across from that, we grow basically the same thing, but I just wanted to show we've actually got grass growing up from underneath. This is growing 8 inches through dirt to get to the top. This Mizuna actually was not transplanted. This was actually grown from seed that was in the garden last year and found its way here, conveniently in the corner out of the way next to the remainder of these onions. Onions look like they're doing pretty fantastic. A little bit of weeding to be done in that box. There's even some lettuce and a couple of carrots that found their way in there as well. Most of the carrots are still pretty small. That'll increase, and we'll thin these out as time goes, but they're starting to come along, and shortly the box will basically be nothing but greens. I'll continue to make some updates as the garden grows, and those are always the fun part, where you get to see not only the plants continue to get bigger, but how we're going to take care of them, prune them, and harvest them as well. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and have a great day.